What's up, guys? Luke back again with another Gaming Week in Review podcast where we talk about the things that have interested us in the world of video games each and every week. Before we get started, do me a big favor and smash that like button. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is it's a new BanjoKazooie ROM hack that has been released. This comes from Mark Kirko, a well-known game modder of sorts. He's actually, I've talked about his mods in the past when he actually released a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, a basically full-on remake of the original Legend of Zelda with like sort of like Super Nintendo-ish sort of graphics. So like a whole new game, almost like what we saw with the Super Mario All-Stars game for the Super Nintendo, taking those original Super Mario Bros. Games and giving them a new skin that's like looked like Super Mario World. Think of that, but with the original Legend of Zelda game. So he's done this many times. He's also done Mario 64 hacks for visuals and things like that. But he has a new really fun BanjoKazooie hack. It's called BanjoKazooie Stay at Home. And basically it's a mashup of all the classics from Nintendo, sort of like Nintendo 64 and some others as well. And it's basically at its foundation, it's the dam level of GoldenEye in BanjoKazooie. Like, it's a full-on, like, redone GoldenEye, the first level, the dam, in BanjoKazooie. So you're hopping around as BanjoKazooie and basically collecting all the gold coins and whatever BanjoKazooie collects, and you're doing it inside of the dam level of GoldenEye. And it looks really good. I actually downloaded it before I started the podcast as soon as I found out about it, because you never know when Nintendo might come knocking. So I got it on my computer. If you guys want to see it played, there's about a 30-minute video. I'll link it in the description so you can see what it's all about. And then come back here and tell me if you want to see me do some sort of content with that, or maybe even live stream it. I would love to dive into it. I just don't know if I have the time for it. So please let me know, guys, in the comments section down below if you would like to see some BanjoKazooie, GoldenEye and BanjoKazooie. Let me know. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is Comix Zone original soundtrack LP has now been announced as coming soon. If you guys don't know what Comix Zone is, it's a awesome Sega Genesis game from way back in the day. It was basically the game is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but the story is you have been thrown into a comic of an evil comic book creator, and you have to basically fight your way out as you go from panel to panel. The comic book creator is drawing the enemies that you're going to fight against, and you got to beat them up and move forward. The game is tough as nails, but it is addicting as heck. One of my favorites from the Sega Genesis era. I don't think there's ever been anything made that was quite like it since it came out, and I would love to see some sort of sequel one day from Sega. Come on, Sega, get on it, man. But this is the original soundtrack from the original designer, and I just pulled up the information on the website, and I'm going to read it to you. Get into the zone with the Comix Zone original soundtrack, released in 1995. Sega's Comix Zone is one of the last great Sega Genesis titles. That's interesting. Composed by Howard Drawson, the soundtrack is up to its inkwell in crunchy, gritty, evocatively 90s Genesis power. The soundtrack is complete with the addition of 1995 Sega Tunes release, featuring studio recordings from Roadkill. There's going to be 20 plus tracks from the Sega Genesis game. Special D-side with 6 studio recordings, the Sega Tunes. Includes a 6-page booklet featuring interviews with the game's creators. Gatefold with level design board. So inside of the actual vinyl record set, there's going to be level design boards, which is really cool. Genesis and Mega Drive OBI stripe, so it's going to have that nice red stripe going down the left side of it. That's like that iconic for the Sega red. You guys know what it is. You guys remember that, right? So it's going to have that coming down the side of it. It's a 2 LP Sketch Ink Turner Splatter and Night of the Mutants Orange. So it's got this really interesting design. It was sort of teased in the photos, but they didn't show the full thing, so we'll have to buy it, I guess, to see. It's going to be $39.99, which is not too bad for 20 songs on a 2 LP soundtrack, especially songs that are as, I guess, nostalgic for the people that enjoyed Comix Zone back in the day. And this will also be officially licensed by Sega. Rock on, Sega. Sega is actually, like, in the last, like, 5 years or so, has been very, very, I guess, just willing to let people just create with their IPs, like, especially their old IPs. Obviously, we know about the Sega Genesis Mini that came out in 2018. And that was a collaboration with M2. We also know about the Retrobit wireless Sega Genesis controller that I actually did a video on the YouTube channel. Put a link to it in the cards if you want to go and check it out. It's a fully wireless Sega Genesis controller with a dongle, so you can plug it into, like, say, a Nintendo Switch or even a PC, but it'll also work with the Sega Genesis Mini, and you can plug it into an original Sega Genesis, and it's a 6-button Sega Genesis controller. It's phenomenal. It's all officially licensed, comes in the same, very similar packaging from back in the day. Such a cool item, and it wouldn't have been able to be released if it wasn't for Sega being willing to collaborate with smaller companies to just, like, make cool stuff like this. So I'm rock on, Sega. Keep doing it, because I'm gonna keep buying your crap because it's too dang cool to pass up. So if you guys want to check it out, if you're big Comix Zone fans and you want to check out the vinyl soundtrack, it's really nice. I will leave a link in the description so that you can go and check that out. And as we do every week, we got limited run games news, and the first thing that we are going to talk about is last chance games. And this week we only have one last chance game. It's going to be Mummy Demastered. This is a retro style Metroidvania run and gun game with great music. This game has amazing music. The art style is very Metroidvania. It's looks very, very fun. I haven't actually played it. From the music and from, like, the gameplay, though, I know it's right up my alley. It's something that I would highly recommend if you're into Metroidvania style games. Go and pick it up. We got a few more days left with it. But it's gonna have it has a PS4 and a Switch release. It has a standard and collector's edition, and they also are gonna be ending the 2LP soundtrack that they have for Mummy Demastered as well. Pre-orders are going to end Sunday, November 22nd, so we got a couple of days to grab that game, and then it is gone for good. Okay, new this week, we have Shenmue 3. This is going to be, there's a lot here, okay, guys? So I'm just going to try to break this down as simple as possible. New this week, we got Shenmue 3. It's a PlayStation 4 only release, and here's the kicker. It's not going to be a standard release. I think they may have done a standard release for Shenmue 3 in the past, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But this one is going to be a collector's edition only. It's going to be for $149.99, and it's going to be limited to 3,000 units. So this is one where it's time to wake up early in the morning, cart ready, coffee's flowing, all that good stuff. So there's only 3,000 left. I assume a title like Shenmue, even if it may have not been received too super well when it was released, I assume that this one's gonna go quick. So if you want it, pick it. You need to be up, and if you want to know here, like when this gets announced, so you don't miss it when these videos get released later on YouTube. If they get released later, you definitely need to be checking out our live streams. Link is in the description. Come and hang out with us. We stream these as we record these live on live stream over at Facebook Gaming. So if you want to hear about this stuff live, so you can be on top of it a little bit better, go and check out our live stream every Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening, around 8 p.m. going into the wee hours of the night, depending on how things go and how long my wife will let me stream. But Shenmue Complete Edition, this is the collector's edition, is going to come with a lot of things. It's going to be come with all the DLC included on the disc. So it's includes the game, the latest patch for the game, and all the DLC, which is really nice. There's no download. So kind of the focus of limited run a lot of the time is to get games when they're in their fully complete state. So that when they release them, you have everything on disc. And I love that mission. I love the way that they do things. They wait for all the bugs to get kind of sorted out and the DLC to be out, and then they bundle it all together on the disc, so there's no downloads needed. So we're not dependent on the PlayStation Network if they decide to shut that down one day in the next, 10, 20, 30, 40 years or whatever. If they ever do decide to shut it down, as long as we got the original disc, we're in. We're good. So it comes with the game, obviously, a welcome card from Hotel Naiwu, Chobu Chan figurine, a Bailu Chan figurine, Shenmue 3 Complete Edition commemorative Dreamcast jewel case, and it does say Dreamcast coming down the spine. It looks really nice. No Dreamcast game disc is included, obviously. Pending license approval. So this one may be something that Sega needs to approve, and going back to what I said earlier, I'm sure that they'll be able to work that out. Hopefully, fingers crossed. A 5-inch die-cast sword of the seven stars replica. So this is basically a replica of the Sword of the 7 Stars on a nice little prop, I guess, sword prop, and looks really nice. This is kind of the main centerpiece of the entire collector's edition, and it does look really nice. It looks like there's a lot of detail there, so I'm really excited for that. It also comes with a Golden Goose VIP card, just a little bit of game memorabilia from the game, and a Bailu Herb map. So it's basically the map of the game, I'm assuming. I'm assuming that its setting is in Bailu Herb. So correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty sure that's what it is. And so it comes with a lot of stuff for $150. I think it's definitely going to be worth it. Just getting the game alone with all the DLC and stuff like that, that's at least, I would say maybe $40-50. And then all the extras with it, I think definitely makes it worth it. Not a super awesome deal, but definitely a good deal for a cool Shenmue 3 collector's edition. Now, they're also releasing a bunch of variations of their soundtrack, and it's a total mess. I don't know, if I would be able to personally make it any more organized, but there's 5 or 6 different options as far as soundtracks. I'll tell you right now, they should probably just get rid of CDs, but I guess there's people out there that want CDs, so they still leave it in, I guess, but there's a lot of options here. So we have a ton of vinyl and CD soundtrack options. They have this Shenmue Definitive Soundtrack Volume 1 and Volume 2 on vinyl, and they're 11 LPs. 11 different vinyl discs in one definitive track set. Also has, you can also pick up the complete soundtrack on CD and much more. Also, there's a 2 LP original soundtrack option as well. So there's a lot of different soundtrack options. I personally probably wouldn't have put it together that way, but I mean, I guess they're trying to get all the music on an LP, and if there's that much music, then I guess that's what they have to do. But I just don't know anyone that's going to invest $125 or even $300, I think it was saying, for the 11 LPs all in one set. It was like $300. If you wanted it signed, it was like $350. I'm like, dude, you should have it signed. Just have it signed for $300. Like, why upcharge $50 for a signature? Like, I think it's kind of a bad setup by Limited Run. I am not sponsored by Limited Run, by the way, guys. So I can say bad things about them if I want to, if I see something that I think is being done poorly. I think their soundtrack situation should have been simplified. If it's too many LPs, just put it on CD, I guess. But 11 LPs, like, who's gonna do this? I mean, maybe you will. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I think it's a bit of a mess. But it's there. If you guys want to go and check it out, go ahead and go and check it out. It's gonna be and all this stuff is going to be happening Friday, November 20th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Once again, like I said, be up, be ready, because when this thing goes live, the collector's edition will probably be gone instantly, or within the first hour or so. But the vinyls will, I'm assuming, will be there for quite some time. I don't think there was any listings of them being limited. So, with those, if you're just looking for those, you can, I guess, get on there anytime. And then the last thing for Limited Run, they put up a listing for a Limited Run mystery box. And this is the first time I've ever seen any sort of mystery box from Limited Run, but it actually looks like it's packing a ton of value for what they're asking. So I'm just going to tell you all the things that come with it, and you can kind of decide. This is from their listing on limitedrun.com, so you can go and check it out for yourselves. But they're going to be selling these mystery boxes for $29.99, $30. These Limited Run game mystery boxes include tons of leftover components from our past collector's editions and convention exclusive merch. So this is like just a mystery box variation of probably a bunch of crap that they have laying around in the warehouse. But $30, and this is what you get. One Limited Run game steelbook from past releases. Kind of cool. One CD soundtrack. Okay. One folded 18 by 24 inch poster. Starting to get into like loot crate territory here. One postcard, whatever that is. I don't know. Sounds cool. One sticker, I guess some random sticker, probably a Limited Run sticker, I would think. One Limited Run games trading card, fun if you're into collecting the Limited Run games trading cards like I am. Hey, it's cool to get another one. A Limited Run games button. Sure, it's sort of like maybe the sticker. One random collector's edition component from the past. For example, Jak and Daxter Precursor Orb, Jak 2 Seal of Mar, etc. That's 8 things. That's 8 things that come with this box. I think it's worth it for $30. I think this is actually maybe something that I want to pick up. So I'm gonna pick up one of these, and we can maybe take a look at it. Maybe I won't make a full video of it, but maybe we'll just open it up on the podcast when I do get them in, and we can kind of check them out. And if they're cool, I can maybe get more in the future. I think that for $30 to at least check it out, I think is definitely worth it. And that last thing, one random collector's edition component from past collector's edition, the Jack and Daxter precursor orb. That would be hell. I'd pay $30 for the precursor orb, like let alone all this other stuff. So I think it's kind of cool. If you think it's cool, go over and check it out. This will be going live on Monday, November 23rd at the 10 a.m. Eastern. They didn't say anything about limited supply, but I'm sure it is while supplies last. If they run out of things to put into these boxes, I'm assuming that they're not going to do the boxes anymore, at least for a while. So this might be something to jump on early. I don't know how excited people are. I'm moderately excited about it. I'm gonna get one. So maybe there's other people that are like me, and it might sell out pretty quick. So just heads up on that. Okay, so that's going to do it for limited run news. We're going to kind of move on to some bigger stuff now. The first thing that I want to talk about is IO Interactive just announced that they are working on a new 007 game. It's been a little while since we've had a 007, a proper 007 game. The last one that I can think of was in the Xbox 360 era, 007 Reloaded, which was actually a pretty good game. It was made with by Activision, so it had those Call of Duty controls that we're all used to at that time and still are. And I thought it was a really cool sort of reimagining of GoldenEye. It was obviously not starred. Pierce Brosnan didn't star in it. It was Daniel Craig, and they had to make some tweaks and some changes to the game overall, but it played really well. The gameplay was smooth. The storyline was pretty good. And overall, I can't complain. Multiplayer also was really fun on that game. It was like surprisingly fun. I don't know if you guys remember, but like almost like all 007 games have really good multiplayer, especially split screen multiplayer from back in the day. So that one was no different. So that's kind of what we're going off of going into this new game. But there wasn't really much to report on here. It's just there was no gameplay. It was just basically an announcement that they are working on it. They're calling it Project 007, and they did give us a little bit of a glimpse inside of what it's going to be like. It's a wholly original James Bond origin story. So it's not tied into other stories. It's a completely original James Bond origin story. And I don't know about you, but I'd like to know that story. Where did James Bond come from? Where did he start? Where did he grow up? As? Was James Bond his actual name? Probably not. I feel like there's a lot that they could do with James Bond as far as like digging into his origin story. So it's very, very it's got me thinking. If you guys don't know who IO Interactive is, they're very well known for their Hitman games. So if you have ever played a Hitman game, then you've played an IO Interactive game. And they're pretty much solely, from what I can tell, that's the main game that they develop, and they just release new ones every couple of years. So they have done some other projects like Kane and Lynch, didn't go over so well. And the Freedom Fighters games was a pretty good game in the PS2 era, but they've really stuck to Hitman. So it's kind of cool that they're able to work on a new project. I think they're going to get really creative with it. And if you like the Hitman games, then you should like IO Interactive. So definitely that's another incentive to go and check it out. I'm sure that this game, whatever it turns out to be, it's going to be a high quality. Time is going to be taken in it. There's going to be a lot of creativity in there, and I think the graphics are going to be top notch. So I'm really excited for it, if you can't tell, and I will let you guys know as soon as I know more. Street Fighter 6 has been leaked and is currently in development by Capcom. There's going to be, and then also on top of that, there's going to be a PS5, Series X and S, and PC releases all coming at the same time. This one is currently in development. There's not much that I can report on past that, just that it's going to happen. So really good for the fighting game community. It's always awesome to see a Street Fighter game come out. Whenever a new one does come out, it's always a really exciting time for the fighting game community. So I kind of wanted to share with you guys that Street Fighter 6 coming soon. And monitor sales. Next is monitor sales are starting to pop up. And I actually just finished a video talking about the basically PS5 versus the Xbox Series. Which one should you buy first? Which is the best option to buy as far as consoles right now as we're talking? And spoiler alert, I ended it with neither. And the reason why I say neither is for a lot of reasons. But one of them was because a lot of us don't have gaming monitors that can match what the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are putting out. They want to put out 4K 120 FPS. That's their top goal, okay? But I have a 1080. I'm not going to say we, because you probably have all the great stuff, and, you know, that's awesome. But I got a 1080p 60 hertz monitor. And I feel like a lot of people that are gaming on monitors probably have something similar, maybe 1440p, but not 4K. 4K is still very expensive. So this holiday season, I basically strategized in the video, let's go get monitors. That's what we should be focusing on this holiday season, because there's not a ton that's drawing me in outside of, you know, gimmicks and then the new, like, the shiny visuals that's drawing me into these new consoles. So instead of investing and punching a grandma in the face or fighting bots online to try and secure my copy of my new system that doesn't have any games for it, instead of doing that, I'm going to try and secure an awesome monitor. So when I do finally get these systems, I'll be able to play them and enjoy them at their fullest capacity, or darn near their fullest capacity. So a couple of sales have been popping up lately, and I think they're pretty good. Just to name a few, there is currently a 4K 60 hertz monitor that's going to be going for under $300, $280. And this isn't just like a 4K TV you buy at Walmart, okay? This is a gaming monitor. It's meant and built for playing video games. So I think that's a phenomenal deal. 4K 60 hertz for $280. They also have a 1440p, so it's a little drop in resolution, but a 165 hertz monitor going for $310. That's a dang good deal. 1440p, 165 hertz for $310. And then there's also a 1080p option. If you're not really too worried about increase in resolution, you want all the frames you can get, and you want your screen to be able to display them. This is more for sort of the PC realm, because there's no console that's going to be putting out this kind of frame rate. But it's still worth noting, 1080p, 240 hertz monitor for $250. That is a insane deal. I'll have a link, guys, in the description if you guys want to go and check out some of these deals that are coming out for new monitors. If your head is in the same place as me this holiday season, looking for looking into what you want to get, you know, or also just like alternatives to the console race, the hype. It's a huge hype train. It's a ginormous hype train, and I'm guilty. I'm a part of it too, but I still am a free thinker, and you know, I feel like getting a monitor right now is worth way more than getting a console that has like not much to play on it. Speaking of the new consoles, I actually did get the chance, and I'll kind of brush over this. I did get a chance to check out a Series X. Actually, yesterday, a good friend of mine brought one by and basically kind of let me have at it for about an hour and a half. Absolutely, it's really an amazing looking little machine. It's a lot smaller than you would kind of expect from pictures. It's very, very clean. It just fits in pretty much anywhere, and it is very powerful. It's very quick. That quick resume feature is everything that we've talked about. And I did a lot of stuff with backwards compatibility. I threw an original Xbox game in there, Black, one of my favorite shooters from back in the day. And it was razor sharp, man. It really sharpens up the images of those old school games and just gives them this like really revitalizes them and gives them this fresh look. We also took a look at current gen game and then a previous gen game as well. And it looks really good, and it's definitely a more powerful console than the one consoles as we already knew. But I was left with sort of this confirmation. It was a confirmation that I was playing it on a 1080p monitor, and it really didn't blow me away to the point where I was like, God, I have to have one. It was more like, it's awesome, but I think if I put my Xbox One X and I played the same games on this monitor that I'm playing on, it wouldn't be all that impressive. So I kind of was left with a confirmation that this holiday season, I need to pick up a monitor. You probably should too. And lastly, guys, last thing I want to talk about is the Game of the Year nominees have been announced. This is in regards to the Game Awards 2020. This is going to be streamed live on December 10th. And it's a really fun show, guys. It's sort of, I feel like when you're watching the Game Awards, I always feel like there's like a lot of like money changing hands. Like, you know, it's sort of like a big advertisement, less so than like some sort of prestigious like awards, you know, ceremony sort of deal. It's more of a big video game industry advertisement than anything. But there is that one category that everyone gets really excited about every year, and that's what is going to be the Game of the Year. So I got the nominees here. They are Animal Crossing New Horizons, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Hades. What is Hades? What is Hades the game? I have never heard of this game, and it's up for Game of the Year. It's been nominated for Game of the Year. Let me know, guys, what the hell is Hades? No pun intended. And because I've heard of all these other ones, but I've never heard of Hades. So maybe I'm just missing out. Maybe I've been living under a rock. I don't know, but I'm curious now. I want to try this game out. And as you're probably wondering, what do I think is the Game of the Year? And I think of all the games that I'm looking at here, even though big Last of Us Part 2 fan, I'm also willing to say that it is not as good as the first game and not deserving, in my opinion, of Game of the Year. I also have not played Final Fantasy VII or Doom Eternal yet. Final Fantasy VII, I'm turned off on because we haven't even been able to play the entirety of Final Fantasy VII yet. We played part 1. So this being on Game of the Year, I don't think it's even deserving of being on this list. So rule out that, rule out Hades, rule out Last of Us Part 2. Doom Eternal, I've heard a lot of good things and also a few not so good things. So let's throw that one out. So it'd just be between Animal Crossing New Horizons and Ghost of Tsushima. Animal Crossing sold a lot of games this year. a lot. A lot of that was due to quarantine and people wanting time killer style games. It is a fantastically addictive game for all ages, all generations, all genders. And you know, that's something in itself, I think. I think it's a very addictive and fun game. It's got a lot bringing to the table, but I don't think it's as original as Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is an all new IP this year. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a big open world game with a fantastic story, incredible gameplay mechanics. I just can't say enough about Ghost of Tsushima. Animal Crossing is an expansion of the same thing, right? It's the same thing where basically it's basically a community simulator, but it's just bigger now. You can go and hang out and check out your friends' islands. You know, you have your own island. There's special events. It's almost sort of like a $60 games as a service sort of deal, with special events and things like that. So I can't say that game is like so groundbreaking and game changing that I would make it game of the year. So my choice for game of the year 2020 is Ghost of Tsushima. Out of these nominations. Dude, comment of the freaking week. It's the comment of the week. It's the comment of the week. And this week's comment of the week comes from Michael DePisa. Excuse me if I mispronounced or butchered your last name, but Michael DePisa said the original CCU was discontinued, and this pertains to last week's podcast when I was talking about the Stadia, to give you guys some context. And he said the original CCU was discontinued because the new Sabrina model just got released. They're getting rid of the old existing stocks with the Premier bundles. I like Stadia's business model better for my use. I have a ton of games in my Pro subscription, but I can also just buy a game I want to play. Can't do that with Luna, and with Game Pass, you can't keep the games. Also, you can try right now if you have a Chrome browser or Android or an Apple device, Stadia browser. So, first of all, Michael, thank you so much for your comment. It's definitely deserving. This one was a clear winner. Best comment of the week. Thank you so much for it. And it seems like you know a lot about Google Stadia. I actually haven't really had a chance to check it out yet, but after this comment, it's made me much more excited to kind of jump into it, because you made some good points with Luna. Luna, I haven't really done a whole lot of research on, but especially with Game Pass, you cannot keep these games. They come and they go. It's like a Netflix subscription. Whereas with Stadia, they're there and they're there forever. And I actually didn't think about that. That is a definite benefit of Stadia. The other thing about Stadia is, like, when it was first coming out, I had, like, I don't know if this is a new thing with the Pro membership, but when it was first coming out, my biggest gripe about it was, okay, so you don't get to download these games even. There's no physical copy. That's one strike. Second strike is you don't even get to download them. You have to stream them from Google's Stadia service, and they can basically take that away whenever they want. But after seeing this, you actually have the ability to get free games with Pro. So that's sort of filling that same niche as the Game Pass subscriber. It's $9.99 a month, totally not breaking the bank. Bunch of great games too. They like all the Pro games that I've seen that I've claimed are great games, and I'm assuming these get renewed every month too. I think there's like 10 or 15 different games you can choose from every month, and once you've claimed them, they're a part of your library. So you can basically have them in your library as long as you want, sort of like PlayStation Plus, but with a lot more options. You don't need a fancy computer. You don't need a fancy phone. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need a phone. You just need a computer, and you can fire it up on any browser. On paper, this is sounding really freaking good. So I can't wait, Michael, to try this, try Google Stadia out for the first time and kind of just like really dive into it and see if it's actually something that I'd want to try out. And I would never have said this like ever in the past, but with Pro, it really kind of opened the door, sort of like with Xbox, with Game Pass, sort of opened the door to me kind of, you know, at least exploring it, checking it out. I may not like it, I may not use it, but it might be something that after I try it out, that I would recommend to the right person, maybe like you, Michael. But once again, thank you so much for your comment. But that's going to do it for this week's podcast, guys. If you got value out of this video, do me a big favor and smash like, as well as subscribe with bell notifications turned on so you can catch me every time I release a podcast. Also, I want to hear from you guys now. What do you think about the new BanjoKazooie ROM? Are you going to check that thing out? Do you want me to check that thing out? And who do you think is, what game do you think is going to win Game of the Year? Did you pick the same one as me, or did you pick something else? And what the hell is Hades? Let me know in the comments below. But until next time, guys, Luke from 8-Bit Plus signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.